See, there's what I call there's a way to be wrong the right way. We already ascertained that people don't like to be wrong. By the way, how many of you have spouses that don't like to be wrong either? And if your spouses were here, what would they be saying? Put your hand down, you. You can only imagine how many times I hear from my wife, okay, Mr. Speaker Guy, when are you going to practice what you preach, right? Well, there are what I call 3 ways of being wrong the right way. Number 1, and these are really philosophical questioning of ourselves. By the way, this involves what we're doing right now is called metacognition. Didn't your mother say learn a new word every week? Metacognition is the term of the day. And metacognition simply means thinking about thinking. Human beings are very unique. In out of all the creatures on this earth, we are the only ones, at least that we know of, that have the capacity to process how we think while we're doing it. And actually being able to step outside of our own experience and say, I wonder why I do that. Being wrong the right way, just because I don't understand or agree with something, doesn't make it wrong. What does it mean? Maybe it just means that I don't have the same values that you have. Maybe I haven't had the same life experiences to see something the way you have, or the same professional experiences. But just because I don't understand it doesn't make it wrong. I've got to be willing to acknowledge that sometimes, that it's just maybe my limited perspective. Number 2, even if I believe in something very strongly, it doesn't make me right. I know this is painful. Isn't this painful to acknowledge? What does it make me if I need to be right all the time? Just because a horse is what? It may make me very strong in my convictions at best, but it may make me very stubborn in the eyes of the people that I work with, and maybe even dysfunctional to the people that I work with. Think about it, right? So even if I believe in something, and sometimes what people do is they confuse their strength of conviction with the rightness of their conviction. The two are unrelated. Even if I believe something really passionately, it doesn't make me right. And then finally, here's kind of what the right way to be wrong. I always want to be willing to hold myself up to the bright light and say, maybe if you give me enough new information or you share perspectives with me that I haven't heard yet, just maybe I'll change my mind. How much more productive, how much more creative in your approach to taking care of patients would this organization be if more people just said, keep talking, I'm listening, and left the door open to changing their version of what's right? What gets in the way of us doing that? Our egos. Our egos. And if we can learn to leave our egos at the door a little bit more often, what it allows us to is to get to this place. There's one of my favorite quotes of all time is comes from a guy named Eric Hofer. Learners inherit the earth, while the learned are beautifully equipped to deal with the world that no longer exists. Okay?